There's a quiet suburban neighborhood in Pennsylvania, the kind with trimmed lawns and friendly neighbors. It's the sort of place where nothing out of the ordinary ever seems to happen, except for one house, 219 Willow Lane. It looks perfectly normal, white siding, blue shutters, a big maple tree out front. But for the last 40 years, every single person who has moved into that house has mysteriously vanished. No bodies, no signs of a struggle, and absolutely no explanation. Tay. Where hoost. Gone. The story begins back in 1981. The Hendersons, a young couple with a baby boy, were the first. They were friendly, always waving to people, always out in their garden. Then one Saturday morning, a neighbor walked over to return a casserole dish she'd borrowed. She found the front door wide open. Inside, the television was still on, playing a cartoon. Breakfast plates were sitting on the kitchen table, but the house was completely empty. Police searched for months, but found nothing, not even footprints leading away from the property. It was as if the Hendersons simply stood up from their breakfast table and walked straight into thin air. 5 years later, a schoolteacher named Eleanor Price moved in. She told people she didn't believe in ghost stories and even laughed about the local rumors. But within 3 months, her neighbors started noticing strange things. Every night, around 2 in the morning, her lights would flicker on and off. Sometimes, her windows would slam open on their own. People walking by at night swore they could hear Eleanor talking to someone, even though she lived all alone. One morning, her mail started piling up. Her car was still parked in the driveway. The police were called again. They entered the house to find her reading glasses on the coffee table, a fresh cup of tea steeping in the kitchen, and a favorite book lying open on the couch. But Eleanor was gone. No note, no signs of a break-in. Just gone. For the next decade, nobody would touch the property. Real estate agents refused to show it. Local teenagers would dare each other to just step onto the porch. Some who did swore they heard footsteps creaking on the second floor. Others claimed they heard a baby crying, even though no children lived anywhere nearby. Eventually, the house was sold again. In 2004, a retired policeman named Raymond Keller bought it. He was a skeptic and didn't believe in the supernatural. He even told reporters, "If there's something in there, I'll handle it." The first thing Raymond did was install security cameras throughout the house. For weeks, nothing happened. Life was quiet. Then one night, his next-door neighbor was woken up by a scream. It was short, sharp, and then suddenly cut off. The next day, the neighbor saw Raymond's gardening tools still lying in the yard and the front door hanging open. Police arrived, and once again, the house was empty. No Raymond. But this time, they had the security cameras. The footage showed something that investigators, to this day, refused to talk about publicly. At 3:17 a.m., the camera in the hallway captured Raymond walking into view, holding a flashlight. He looked confused, like he was hearing something just behind him. He turned around once. Then he turned again. Suddenly, he froze, staring at something just out of the camera's view. And then, slowly, unbelievably slowly, he lifted his hand, as if someone was taking it. His body tilted forward, but he wasn't falling or stumbling. He was being dragged into the darkness of the hallway. His flashlight clattered to the floor and rolled its beam pointing toward the stairs. But Raymond never appeared again. The tape just ended there. The house stayed empty 4 years after that. No electricity, no visitors, just a quiet, rotting place. The neighborhood tried its best to forget. But last spring, a young couple bought it at a steep discount. They were new to the area and didn't know the history. They moved in on a Sunday. By Monday, they were gone. Their moving truck was still full in the driveway. Their keys were still in the front door lock. Their cell phones were found charging in the kitchen. But the couple was nowhere to be found. Today, 219 Willow Lane is for sale again. It sits empty yet. It looks perfectly tidy, as if its last occupants just stepped out for a moment. Real estate agents don't bother explaining the history anymore. They just give one piece of advice to potential buyers. If you hear footsteps upstairs, don't go check. Neighbors swear that sometimes they can see shadows moving behind the upstairs curtains. And every single night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., one light in the house turns on all by itself, the hallway light. The same hallway where the last owner was seen on camera before he disappeared. Some say the house is hungry. Some say it keeps what it takes. And others say if you stand outside on a quiet night and listen very, very closely, you can still hear the front door creak open and footsteps wandering inside, even when no one lives there.